Hello everyone! If you guys are new to this channel, I'm Izzy. I like to do hauls, story times, and everything in between. If you would like to, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm almost at 100 subscribers, so I really hope I can reach that goal soon. So as you can tell from the title, I'm basically going to be doing a beginner's guide on how to sell on DEPOP. This guide is specifically for people who are just looking to casually sell on the app, because I'm a casual seller myself. I don't sell on DEPOP full-time or anything like that. So if you guys are just starting out by selling unwanted items and trying to become a casual seller on the app, then this is the perfect guide for you. I made this guide as simple as possible by boiling it down into 5 main points, so I really hope that you guys are able to learn a lot from this. If you guys want to check out my DEPOP, it's at FruitPerson. I'm going to be posting the items that I cleaned out from my closet, so be sure to look out for those and follow. So the 5 main things I'm addressing in this video are how to select your items, take pictures, figure out the right price and shipping costs for each of your items, listing your items onto DEPOP, and finally refreshing your items so that people are always discovering them. So the first thing I'll talk about is how to select your items. I'm gonna say this right off the bat. Don't keep clothes that don't fit you or that you're not gonna wear anymore, because we already know that you're not going to wear them ever. I totally understand how hard it is to get rid of things that you think are really cute but just don't fit quite right. But trust me, you will not wear them, ever. You won't. It will just take up more space in your closet that could be used on other things that you would actually want to wear. In addition to keeping that in mind, you should also consider the condition of the items that you're trying to sell. So for clothes, you'd want to make sure they're anywhere from good to new condition. If a clothing item has significant signs of wear, such as holes or undone stitching, then it's best to either donate it or repurpose it into something else. And at the very last resort, if it's just unsalvageable, then you throw it out. But if the item is brand new or you've only worn it a few times, then that's a pretty good item to sell. The same rule applies for things such as accessories like jewelry, belts, etc. But for things such as makeup or skincare, anything that will touch your face or skin directly, you want to make sure that those items are brand new and sealed. It's against DEPOP's policy to sell open or used makeup, so don't do it. You don't want to get banned or anything like that. If you really do want to get rid of lightly used makeup or skincare, I just recommend giving it to family or friends. Next up is how to take pictures of your items. You want your background to be as clean as possible, so find a space that's not cluttered or messy in any way. Most ideally, you could use a blank wall as a background, but since I don't really have a free wall to use, I just clean up my room and use that as my background. So for items that fit me properly and I'm able to model, I use the self-timer on my phone to take my pictures. Normally I have a little Bluetooth shutter remote that I use to take my pictures, but since I didn't have that, I just ended up using my self-timer. You honestly don't need to have a shutter remote. The only reason it's convenient is because I'm able to snap my pictures from a distance and not have to worry about running back to my phone to press the button every single time I want to take a picture. I do a few different poses and then look back on all the pictures so that I can see which ones flatter the item the most. In addition to that, I take flat lay photos of every single item that I'm selling, whether I modeled it or not. I prefer laying the clothes flat as opposed to putting them on a hanger because sometimes the hangers can make the shape of the item look weird. For these flat lays, you also want a really good clean background. I just use my carpet because I think it looks good and it's the best place for me to take flat lays on. For these flat lay photos, I take pictures of different parts of the item. The first one is a photo capturing the entire item so that potential buyers will be able to see all of it. Never really had a crush like this. The next few pictures highlight some details of the item that might not be easily visible in that initial full photo. For example, for this black lace bodysuit, I put my hand there to show that the entire midsection was see-through, and then I took a few more photos of the lace detailing on the cups, and also the hooks in the back to show that that's where you fasten the top portion of the bodysuit. Another very important part that I photograph is the tag that shows the brand that it's from and the size. Additionally, if the item is brand new with tags, I also take a picture of the actual price tag to show that it's actually brand new and I'm not just making stuff up. Lastly, I take a flat lay of the backside of the item. As for editing, I do very small edits to make sure that the photos are as true to life as possible. I mainly fix things such as exposure, contrast, and saturation, and I make sure that I'm referencing the actual item to make it as accurate as possible. Also, if the photo is in the wrong orientation, I rotate it so that it's right side up. Next, we're going to talk about pricing and shipping. Honestly, this part was the hardest for me to figure out when I first started out on DEPOP. I wasn't sure exactly how to price my items because I didn't know if I was over or underpricing them. There are a few things that I do to find out my pricing for a specific item. The biggest thing is to consider the actual condition of the item and think about how much someone would want to pay for it. For example, if an item is brand new, people are more likely to buy it at a higher price than they would if that item was used. Also, if an item is brand new but past season, then you would still want to price that lower than the tag price says. Another thing that really helps me with pricing is to check the retail price of the item itself, or if you can't find the retail price of it, then find a similar item from the same brand. That one especially helps me because I figure out the general range that a certain brand prices their items in, so that if I'm listing a bunch of items from the same brand, I can estimate what price to put it at. Then for shipping, the biggest thing I take into consideration is the weight of the item. I know Depop has their own built-in shipping option, but I don't use it because I've heard that sometimes they can overcharge. I have my own set of shipping prices that I use for different items that I'm selling. For any jewelry or any small light items in general, I charge $4 for shipping. For makeup items or lighter clothing items such as crop tops, I charge $5. And lastly, for heavier items such as jeans, jackets, etc., I charge $6. If you want to use the built-in shipping option, then that's perfectly fine, but I personally prefer having my own set prices. So the next part I want to touch on is posting your items to Depop. So now that you have your pictures and your prices done, you have to write a description. For the description, I put the brand name and the full name of the item in the first line. Then under that, I have different bullet points. The first one is the size and any other notes that you may have about the sizing. For example, if it's like a size 2 but it runs big, it's very important to note that. Then I like to talk about the condition of the item, if it's new with tags, new without tags, etc. If I remember how many times I've worn it, I also include that as well. Although if you've worn it more than 3 times, I'd recommend just to leave that out entirely. Then I mentioned the retail price if I found it in the previous step. Then at the end, I put tags, which are basically buzzwords that are relevant to the item. I know how tempting it can be to put different tags that might not necessarily be related to the actual item, but it's best to just keep them completely relevant to the item.
No apologies, my baby. How do you do? 'Cause I'm feeling so good.
Then the rest of the sections are pretty self-explanatory. You just enter in your price, your location, shipping price, etc.
But you'll be there, ready to rescue me if I go out of track. You can get away with it. 'Cause you make me love my imperfections, answer all my questions just to show me what's in the other.
The very last thing I want to discuss is refreshing your items. The reason this is very important is because when you search something up on Depop, the items that you get in the results are listed as newest to oldest. So by refreshing your items, you're bumping them up in the search results so people are more likely to see it. So to do this, you basically go to whatever item you're trying to refresh, you click edit, and then you just click post listing so that Depop will automatically recognize it as a new item and then put it up top in the search results. And with that, that is the end of the video. I hope that you guys have a better understanding of how to sell on Depop and how to make sure that your items get the most relevant exposure. If you guys want me to make more videos like this about different apps, just comment down below which ones you'd like to see. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.